さあシド、早くデートだ。デートデートデートデートデート。
分かったから。とにかくその格好じゃ目立つ。着替えてくれないと。
Hey there, it's me, Hito. Well, yeah, the last time I've talked to you lies back already over 3 weeks ago, and for that I apologize. I just had a very lot to do lately and didn't found any time to work on a new video until now. So, what's today's video's topic? It's a new what-if scenario based around the idea of Kurumi having successfully consumed Shido from the start. But before that, I've got some very small new data life stuff for you. First, for those who know and play Spirit Pledge, you can get excited because a new data life gacha game called Spirit Crisis is about to launch in Japan, which means that it might come to us as well later on. Up until now, there is no detailed information or footage yet. Furthermore, the title of the first episode of Data Life 4 got revealed as well. It's going to be dubbed Don't Panic, This is Spirit's Trap. And as final small update for all the collectors out there, a new Kurumi figure will get released very soon. And now let's go with my little what if. Alright now, let's get this rolling. At very first, let's start at the moment when Kurumi fighted Kotori, but this time Kotori gets overpowered by Kurumi and gets knocked out long enough so the real Kurumi can consume Shido. Okay, well here we gotta clear something up first. Kurumi having consumed Shido pretty much would also mean that she actually would become the new vessel of pure spirit energy, and there it's all honestly questionable if Kurumi even could hold all that power inside, since she herself has a pure sapphire crystal inside, and that Shido's ability to seal spirit energy and the spirit energy from Yoshino and Toka could influence Kurumi's crystal in a bad way, since her body simply isn't built for having more than just one spirit power source. But let's just say she can embrace it. What would change heavily? Well, since there's no Shido anymore, it would mean that all the other following spirits pretty much have no chance to ever live like normal girls and fight off the AST and the DEM for all of their time. So Yuzuru, Kaguya, etc. would never be part of the story. Anyway, I do believe that Shido's personality might be able to influence Kurumi's character since he literally became a part of her. Like for example, that Kurumi might act a bit different than usual and even maybe would make decisions she normally wouldn't, but for the most part, staying the psychopathic genius we all know and love. With all this power, all this spirit energy inside, she would instantly kick off her plan earlier than she does or did in the show so far. Just cover your ears for about 1 to 3 seconds or something if you don't want to get spoiled right now. Finding Nia, using Raziel, etc. On the other hand, there is still Toka and Yoshino. Well, if we would go for the show's narrative, then the most likely situation would be that Toka and Yoshino inverting due to seeing Shido basically dying in front of their eyes. But for my scenario, we just ignore the whole inversion concept, since Toka not inverted opens up much more potential for a scenario with narrative. And no, Kurumi wouldn't have Kotori's power because Kotori regained her full power before facing Kurumi. So Toka, Yoshino and Kotori would most likely suffer from a very deep going depression and breakdown for quite a while. And I do believe that Toka might be the first of the 3 to regain her motivation to avenge Shido's death with her own hands, but with only about the half amount of her power, since the rest is now infused with Kurumi herself. Pretty much Kurumi would eventually use Yokbat to travel 30 years back in time to find Phantom. With having 3 different spirit powers inside, she might become overconfident and start to make mistakes during the fight. Furthermore, Kurumi highly underestimates how powerful and strong in combat Phantom actually is and gets defeated at first. This wouldn't change a lot in the flow of time, aside from Kurumi becoming the second ever spirit that exists, and that the first time meeting between Phantom and Shinji might happen differently a little bit.
But who in the name of fuck is Shinji?
Well, just watch this video I've made a few months ago after this one, if you don't mind getting spoiled. Back on topic. Kurumi most likely would run out of time and return to her timeline and spending most of the time recovering and planning her next steps and actions after her original plan failed this hard. Since Shido is already a part of her, there's no one she really could consume easily to achieve greater power, which leaves Kurumi with no choice but to making up a risky emergency plan to consume other spirits now as well, starting with Toka. I just kinda guessed that Toka, if she again meets Kurumi after their last encounter, would from the start go all out and give everything she has. But with only half amount of her power, it's pretty obvious that Kurumi has the upper hand here. But let's not forget that Toka in this scenario is filled with anger and deep hatred for Kurumi, which could boost Toka's power and maybe restore a bit of her full potential. It also would come to a short convo between Toka and Kurumi. Kurumi most likely would try to use psychological tactics to weaken Toka's iron will and desire to avenge Shido, with telling her that without Shido there's no place for her to be anymore, and that no one in this world would ever accept her, and telling her she is going to be reunited with Shido once Kurumi absorbs her. But knowing Toka and her don't give up mindset, which she learned from Shido, Toka would simply reply with telling Kurumi that she's here to avenge Shido and she's gonna pay for all the suffering she had caused to others. And despite her hatred for her, they aren't that different actually, which at first would Kurumi caught off guard, and that's the moment Toka uses to strike with all of her might. Toka lands a hit on the person who killed her beloved Shido. This feeling probably would result in a wash of emotions and her entering some kind of berserk mode, going completely nuts and crazy with her attacks, setting free all of her frustration, anger, hatred and sadness. Every single strike of Sandalphon now feels 10 times stronger than before, and Toka begins to shout,
How could you? How dare you take away my Shido?
Kurumi would lose focus and has a hard time to block Toka's Sandalphon filled with immense power and speed, but she eventually manages to use Aleph to open up a far range gap between them, which gives Kurumi a little time to use Dalat to recover. But even with that, she would notice that all her bullets won't bring her victory in this fight, since Toka's speed and power have increased drastically due to her rage and rush of emotions. So here I mostly think that Kurumi would just escape through her shadows and continue to prey on humanity and punish evildoers in her eyes, but also to look for more spirits she could consume in order to defeat the Great Wall Toka poses. Toka's full power infused alongside with some other spirits might be the key to defeat Phantom. And yep, that was my little what if. I know that my little story sounds very far-fetched, and I know I didn't really give a lot of detail to it, and from a writing perspective this what if is also not really someone would call great storytelling, and I on purpose didn't explore all of the side routes this could have taken, since the video then would be 5 hours long I guess. And one thing I want to say before we end this, yeah, I know I sound a little off, or that I sound like I'm having a cold or something. That's because I got a little cold, but I just wanted to bring this new video. Don't you worry, I'm going to be fine soon. And now, what's your opinion on this topic? I'd love to read your opinion in the comments down below. And with that being said, I'm out. Till next time.